Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just doing a little video on the state of charging in Southern Oregon. So we live in the largest city by population in Southern Oregon. It's the 8th largest city in Oregon. Most of the high population cities are north. Obviously Portland, and as you go up north, Eugene, Salem, they're all higher population. So we're just talking about Southern Oregon. And the main point to consider is we are the largest city in the South. We are the first big city you come to when you cross the Siskiyou Mountains and come into Oregon. And we will be the biggest city that you go through as you're going from Oregon, crossing the mountains into California. In my opinion, it would be important to have charging stations, DC fast chargers in our city, but I will show you what they look like, and we will be there shortly. Here we are at the Target in the north part of our city, and this is the only place where we have an actual DC fast charging station. It is a Tesla station. I will admittedly say most of the EVs I see in our city are Teslas. I would also assume, since the Tesla Model Y and Teslas in general are probably the best-selling EV, most EVs that come through our city are also Teslas. Right now, this Tesla station, not a Magic Dock station, not a place where other brand vehicles besides Tesla can charge here, because they have not installed the Magic Docks, and it's not spring of next year, so we don't have adapters to be able to charge at these stations. So this will get better. Spring of next year, GM, Ford, Volvo, and others will be able to charge here as long as they stay on track and give us adapters. But right now, for this being the biggest city in Southern Oregon and pretty much gateway between here, coming in from California into Oregon and having to drive up to Portland, and then especially coming from Oregon and going into California, it would make sense that our city would have charging stations other than Tesla. To me, that just doesn't make sense. Now, of course, here in front of me, we do have some level 2 chargers, and so that's nice. I'll talk about this more later, but part of me thinks level 2 charging is probably even more important than DC fast charging. This is the main fast charging station. So I'll show you the next closest charger. It's in the city just north of us. It's only 5 miles away, but I'll show you what that looks like. The next main charging station is the Walmart in Grants Pass, which is 30 miles north of here. So after you've gone over the Siskiyou Mountains in an EV, come down into Oregon, you would hit Ashland, which only has like one charging point, a couple other small cities. Then you would hit Medford, and you would expect Medford to have a DC fast charging station that's not just Tesla, but no, there's nothing. So you have to go another 30 miles to get to Grants Pass. I just don't think that was thought out well, especially since we already have 2 Walmarts here, but at least one of them should have a station. Now, the good thing is, and to be fair, Walmart has signed a deal. They're expanding charging in most of their locations, but they've expanded charging, so they're going to build out their charging infrastructure. And so maybe the Walmarts here will get some charging, but it just doesn't make sense to me at the moment. So I'll show you the next closest DC fast charger. All right, so here we are at the next closest DC fast charger, and as you can see, it is just a single stall. So if you needed to charge before you get up another 30 miles to Grants Pass and you don't have a Tesla for Medford, you're gonna have to find a little out-of-the-way DC charger like this. Now, thankfully, this is close to the freeway, and you can find it on PlugShare and things like that, which is how I found it. But if you look at PlugShare and Southern Oregon, and specifically Medford, and you look for CCS chargers, the only thing you're going to find in Medford are dealerships like Chevron and nothing else. And then the next closest one is going to be this one single charger here. I'm going to drive to another place. But I also, to be fair, the Oregon Department of Transportation, ODOT, they have been funded to start installing DC fast chargers all along the I-5. And they are starting with Southern Oregon. Now, what that's going to look like exactly, I do not know. I don't know what company they're using. It might be these EV charging stations that we've seen, these one-offs like this, but hopefully more of them in certain areas. ODOT is saying that they're going to start building these out at the end of this year, at the end of 2023. Hopefully that's true and that'll be the case and that'll be great. But as of now, it's just these little one-offs. So if ODOT doesn't do that, then next year we'll have access to Tesla charging stations with an adapter. Personally, I think Magic Dock is taking way too long to be rolled out, and then 2025 and on, most EVs in the US will be made with the NACS standard. Tesla still should be getting funding from the government for the Magic Dock installs, but maybe they're just not going as fast because they really don't need to. I'm going to take you to one other spot and we will be there shortly. Just wanted to apologize for this section of video. Something happened with the audio, so I'm just doing an audio overlay. But I pulled into this Chick-fil-A parking lot, or right next to it, because I wanted to show you basically what I think is even more important than DC fast charging. All of this flat land that's being worked on, they are all going to be apartments. And that's why, in my opinion, we just need level 2 charging everywhere. And when you're having new construction around in the city we're in, I'm seeing new construction here in this kind of strip mall area with Chick-fil-A and Five Guys and Jamba, and apartments are going up there. I'm seeing apartments going up pretty much all over the town I live in. There's one near the high school that my kids go to. There's one on the other side of town. And I just think level 2 charging when new construction is going up should just be standard. Especially if you really want EV adoption to start taking off. Aside from the hindrance of EV pricing, I think charging is the other big thing that kind of makes people think twice about EVs. And for us, it was a no-brainer because we could have it installed in our garage. But obviously people rent houses, people live in apartments, they can't just have a 240 volt level 2 charger put in. So it would be great for when especially with this new construction, for it just to be a standard thing. My brother, who lives in California, which is where we came from, I was going around his apartment complex. It's relatively newer. It's not brand new, but it's newer. And it was great to see level 2 charging around his complex and actually being used by EVs there. And I understand I live in truck country, not a ton of EVs. And if you do see an EV, it's more than likely going to be a Tesla. But it would just be great to see those level 2 chargers everywhere, even more so than DC fast charging. In malls, even though malls are dying, use the parking lots in new construction areas. People need it where they work, where they shop, because they're spending a couple hours there. And so level 2 will just help top it off. But I just wanted to state that easily is important. I think it's not focused on as much as DC, but that's how I wanted to end. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.